you don't have a simulation, you don't need any background. It's actually a really simple web app, right?
Yes. So these are parameters that at the end, like even this one that doesn't even take into account at this point. Only these 4 are the ones that define the curve. And I'm just here, I'm just plotting the function. That's it. Just giving it some points and plotting it out, not doing anything else. So like as you change this, the only thing that changes the function itself, and it's being instantly plotted. So then once we hit run simulation, what happens is I choose a set of random parameters, which right now they are the delta R. So how much reserve is being added or subtracted to the system every week during 52 weeks. And then from that, I can compute how much is going to change the supply, compute the price, compute the slippage, compute the fees, and all this stuff. And this is what gets summarized here and also plotted. So the fact this is a simulation because there is this random factor that I compute on the fly.
And is this a CAD simulation or just a simulation?
This is some random. So the equations are not too complicated. Actually, like for these 52 points, it's running 8 milliseconds. It's super quick. What Zargam is doing right now with the Conviction Jupyter notebook, he's taking into account all the parts of the system, because what I'm doing right now is very, very, very simplistic. I'm just assuming some random reserve because I want to. He gives some meaning to it. Like the reserve is not gonna just come in and out. It's gonna have a reason. Like people is gonna buy in order to vote for something. Money is gonna go out because a proposal have passed and someone has to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually put parameters into that, like I think he actually has a simulation of how many specific proposals are there every week, how many of these pass through, what's the average value of them, how long do they run for, so how often are they paid to someone. This means that money is going out, and all this granularity at the end gets to the same result, which is money in and out. But he has all these extra steps to make it have hopefully more sense. Like we don't know. Maybe my absolutely imprecise idea of how to compute this is better. We don't know. Like this is just an assumption of how the flow of money is going to look like at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, I just settle for a set of so it's random, but it's bounded. Like it goes from a minimum to a maximum for different parameters. Then everything gets added up, and it results in every one of these steps, the error, and then we compute the rest. So to some extent, it's pretty arbitrary that we actually choose the shape. Like if you run this for a few times, it's always gonna go up and with a similar shape. Like that's because we choose to. Like I could change the simulation and make it go down all the time, or make it fluctuate a ton, or have like extreme volatility. But we just choose some parameters that kind of make sense and tell the story that we think it's going to happen. So like as Arkham said, that like this price rise for a year seems reasonable. The average transaction size per week sounds reasonable, but to some extent it's arbitrary. So this is what we are discussing right now, how to exactly compute this, like the air that goes in and out every week. This is our main point right now.
Yeah, and the big piece that's missing, I think, is the vesting period.
Yeah, exactly. So but the vesting period will be money going out after it's unlocked. But for that, it's dependent of in the milestones and how much money is being used in the system, right?
For the event, for the final system, yes, but for the first two, we're actually doing purely time-based. So it's like,
Oh,
so it
okay.
should be really easy, where it's like after 2 months, there starts to be a trickle, and after 6 months, like so 4 months after the 2 months, that half of the tokens are available that the hatchers bought. Half of those tokens would be able to be sold, but it's a trickle. It's a slow, like.
Okay, yeah, that should not be hard to implement. I will speak with Zara about that.
Sweet.
So what CatCat will provide is basically exactly this, but the way that the parameters are chosen would hopefully make more sense, or hopefully will be more realistic. That's the difference.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then, you think that you will be able to add in a vesting? Well, I guess can I track some issues in GitHub, or where do you want me to track issues?
Sure, issues GitHub is fine.
So like I think if we added a vesting period bar and integrated that into the simulation, would that be so hard to like, because what for sure we'll actually see is the price after hatch will go up, I think, like a lot, and then dip down a lot at that, around that 12-month, that 2-month, people would start to sell. They would sell in advance of the 2-month thing, just because the news that's happening, like, oh no, the people who bought the hatching, they might sell, and then like who knows if they actually sell, but there will be more tokens available to be sold. And
Yeah.
so like this, when I see this like 0.3 in the current simulation, and it stays flat like that for the first 2 weeks, I just can't imagine that, because everyone would want to buy in right away, because it's like, oh yeah, for two months, this thing will not be able to be sold. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a new bonding curve. So everyone wants to buy in right away. So the price is going to, like, in the first day, is going to shoot to 40 cents, 50 cents or something, and then come down, and then be pretty volatile, right? But hanging around probably more like 40 cents. And then, uh, 2 months is going to hit, and people are going to get scared, and maybe it dips to 35, and then it comes back up after a week, and then it slowly starts dripping down, because like, people are going to like, oh my god, tomorrow tokens start being released to the hatchers, I'm going to sell, I don't want to deal with it. But really, it's like 5 tokens go to the hatchers that day, and they could make $5 or something, like, so that it's going to be like kind of anticlimactic on that 2-month period, and then it would be like like maybe 3 weeks down the line, and they have a decent chunk of change, so they'd actually cash out, and you would start to see some of these bigger drops, and especially like 4 months, 5 months, you start to see some bigger drops.
Yeah. So I mean, to some extent, we can just code that. So it's not that complicated, just equations. So,
well, maybe I can
for what's going on right now is this simple. Is the uniform probability of price growth per week between 0.99 and 1.3 for every week.
Okay.
And that's just random. So maybe 3 weeks in a row it's negative, it goes down, or it's just flat, or it goes up, whatever. It's just random. You can see that the probability is to the upside. So on average, it's going to go up. Sargam actually, he suggested these numbers. And then from the price growth, I compute the delta. So I find a delta to fabricate that price growth. But this is basically it. That's it. It's this simple. It will tend to go up, but maybe not, and then it's random. If we want, we can do very complicated set of equations to kind of generate the behavior you just described and make it a little bit random. That could be done. It depends. So at the end, this is just to tell a story. So whatever helps tell the story without being totally rigid, because then it's not a simulation. It's just a showcase of an idea of what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I'm just drawing a little like graph of what I think will happen.
Okay.
And
this is why I added this subtitle that I think makes a lot of sense.
a narrative showcase of CAD/CAD's abilities. Yeah, I like that.
Because I think if you frame it that way, it's very safe to show.
Yeah.
Because this is in all means not a decent simulation, but it just mimics one. Like what will happen if we did it properly.
Yeah.
The thing that surprised me with this, like something that I actually got of value from these simulations, is that the amount collected from what I call withdrawal fees is very, very low.
Yeah, for sure.
Like exceptionally low.
I mean, it's going to be pretty low. Unless there's a lot of volume of people buying and selling. I mean, the dream would be that there would be volume, but it's completely based on volume. What is nice though is that as people sell, if there's a run on the bank, then that really does start to kick up and become pretty valuable compared to the collateral, right? Like as people start taking collateral out, the funding pool actually grows, and there becomes a point where funding pool actually meets up with the collateral. And once they're on the same terms, then that withdrawal fee isn't very small, like relatively to the total system.
Yeah, so that will be something cool to, like, that I imagine CAD would do, to have these feedback loops that if the pool grows big, then there is more interest. And there could be a function that says if sentiment is over 0.5, then the buying should be that much. Then that means that the price will go up again. Then this feedback loop breaks, but then it goes down again. So all these things is what would be not really cool to simulate, but totally out of scope on this.
Yeah. It's not very pretty at all, but it is what it is. Let's see, does this...
Okay.
Okay, so P0, so because this is in week terms, right?
Yeah.
So P0, I mean, maybe it could get down to P0 one day. But the big thing is that you have a huge spike right away. and then and then a huge dip right away, and then but it never comes back to P1. Well, I mean, it could come back to P1 in these other spikes, right? Like when you get to the 2-month cliff, there should be some downward pressure before the 2-month cliff, and then upward pressure after the 2-month cliff. So that that piece right there. So there should be a kind of a down and an up, and then maybe at like 0.25 of the vesting period the vesting half-life that they put in, maybe you have like a big drop. And these are like the whales that bought into the hatch cashing out. And that there should be like some, I would say there should be more like big drops where it's like, oh yeah, I have a fuck ton of these tokens. I should really just sell a bunch. And those will drop the price. Like maybe even like these ones over here, maybe they drop the price even closer to P0,
Yeah.
But there should be like really big sell-offs occasionally. So like I kind of imagine like a overall an upward motion with big sell-offs.
Okay. Yeah. If you want, take a picture of this and send it through Riot or something.
Yeah, I need to.
Or
I'll redraw it because it's pretty bad.
Okay. If you want, throw it on Telegram on the dev group, so we can talk about it with Sargam.
Okay. That sounds.
Hopefully, maybe you can find some simple set of equations that can represent this behavior without having to hard code too much.
Yeah, that sounds good. But that means that we need to add a vesting. Integrate vested token holder behavior to occur. Add vesting period bar. Also, kind of a small thing, but I think the initial raise should be like near the in the bottom of this. At least like chronologically, that would be how it would happen. The initial raise would be the last thing we know.
The initial raise.
So like in this, when it says curve design.
Oh, okay, got it.
Initial raise is like that's like the last. That's the last thing we know, and so we know we know the curve design. Really, initial raise should almost be like a separate bar. It'd be really nice if that was a box that was like as big as Run Simulations box, just above it, because it's not part of the curve design.
Yeah.
I mean, it is part of the curve design. It's just not part of the like design of like someone, like it's determined not by devs, because like what happens is we set all these other parameters. We set the hatch price, hatch sale price, which I think is just the hatch price. Well, I don't know. Jeff might have said these things.
Okay, so I'm down to reorganize, but I think putting it on another box will totally break the UI.
Really, you couldn't just have it like a real.
No. Break it in the terms of aesthetics.
Well, it'll help. I think it will help the narrative though, because it'll explain to people that it's like this is the one big one that you actually adjust. It might hurt the aesthetics a little bit.
It will help it a lot. It will hurt it a lot.
Like if it was just a box the same size as the Run Simulation box, like with the button in the middle, like it was just like another bar just like that was just.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I can imagine a way to make it look nice.
Really?
I don't know. In my head looks so bad.
What about?
Okay,
I guess it could be above. It could be above everything. It could be the first thing.
I don't know. I really follow the what the designer said to use an F pattern. So you first do this, then watch here, and then execute.
Yeah. Well, it could be. I mean, in the end, the only thing I want people to adjust is initial raise.
Okay.
So, like, I mean, they can adjust the other ones, but the only one that they like, the one that they should be constantly adjusting is this initial raise, and it kind of it just maybe it can be highlighted in a way. Maybe it can stay in the box, but be a different color or something, and because it's not really part of the curve design. It's its own thing. It's like this is the. It's not part of the curve design. It's part of the crowd sale, you know.
Yeah.
So, like,
I mean, we can play with colors. That's something the designer suggested that I didn't use.
okay.
So if you say it's that important, should it be at the top or at the bottom?
Well, I'm cool with top. It's just the curve design title that bugs me.
Okay, I see.
Because like initial raise, there's going to be a hatch hard cap, right? But that's not the initial, and that's part of the curve design. There will be a hard cap, but the amount that's raised is not part of the design. So, and it will fluctuate a lot. Like people might want to see, okay, if these are the parameters that are set, and token engineering commons raises $1 million, what does the curve look like? Okay, now what happens if the token engineering commons raises 10 million? What does the curve look like? You know, and then like that's the use case.
Okay. If you want, leave this in an issue, and let's see if we can find a nice solution or something.
Okay. Let's see, and then what else do we got in here? Simulation. I mean, the rest of it all looks great. I mean, it's really funny how when you change the initial raise, the curve doesn't. I mean, that shows you that it's not part of the curve. You know, it's like the curve doesn't change; it's just the axes change when you move an
Yeah.
initial raise.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really is just like it's a different.
But for the same reasoning, with trophy, it should be out also.
Yeah. Well, withdraw fee is part of the initial design. Like that's not something that changes based off of user input.
Yeah.
So at least it's a variable that devs decide. But it also is different.
I mean, something we could do is we could put initial raise on the bottom with kind of double line and make it this blue. So conceptually, it's different.
Yeah, I mean, we could also have like a different title, a different header. Like instead of curve design, we call it we can have like, I mean, what if it just had its own like title that was initial raise and then a bar that was full across in that box?
Yeah, I think that will look better.
Because it is by far the most important one, and it does happen after the devs make the thing. So, okay, this one is. Was there something else? Just the curve, adding the vest in. Yeah, I mean, other than that, dude, honestly, this thing looks so fucking good. It's really smooth. It doesn't seem to have any bugs. Like, I thought it would be buggy as fuck and you would just have to give me a video for it, but it's really, and then I would narrate the video, you know? But it's actually really responsive and quick. So,
Thanks, man.
yeah, man. I mean, dude, thank you. It's fucking great. So nice.
Yeah, I had to do a few like cool tricks with throttling in order for this specific chart to not crash everything.
Really?
Yeah, like these charts look amazing, but they are so heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So there is one little trick. I don't think that will make sense in Gibeth, but it's called throttling. So you can actually control how often things get rendered in order to avoid performance to get too low.
So what when you say,
like you can see that when I move this, the price reacts immediately.
yeah.
So these two are immediately getting update, but this thing, it's throttle. So it will get update at most every 200 milliseconds. That's the throttling.
This is for the mouse cursor over the chart?
No, when I move this,
Yeah.
the graph will only get updated every 200 milliseconds at most.
Okay.
And that's because I throttle it. Otherwise, it will like
Yeah.
melt down.
And what happens immediately then? Or nothing?
So the throttle function, it says, the first time it gets an update, it says, okay. The second time it gets an update, it checks. The first update has happened at least 200 milliseconds away. If not, it gets queued up. And it will get, like, the next update will get executed after 200 milliseconds.
Jeez. Okay. And that's just across the board for everything on this site.
No, just for this specific graph.
Okay. So, but the run simulation, is that throttled? Because I was surprised it took so long, honestly.
This one?
Yeah.
No, this is something I have to think about if I want to make it like move or something. You know that before it kind of moves, like the value is constructed.
Yeah. I love
that was faked. I mean, it doesn't take too much to compute things. I already had the values. I would just like leaving them. I can do that again if we want, but that's just part of more if we want.
No, it definitely adds to it. It definitely adds to it.
Yeah. So my idea was, let's first get the math right about this, and then I will add the fancy animation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So action steps. I'm going to make a preliminary video, I guess, of me using the site, even before you make any changes.
Okay.
My goal is to do that tomorrow, and then I will also make this graph a little bit better to explain what's happening, or like different price movements that I would expect to be standard or part of the description of what's happening for token engineering commons specifically.
Yeah.
And then and also make a few more GitHub issues on this thing. Did you have any other action steps that I should put in?
Yeah, I don't know if you noted it down, but writing the texts for these things, I don't know if that's necessary since you will do a video, but if you want to present this to someone, it really helps to have some information to people be, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So tooltips basically for every single thing. Is that what you mean?
Yes, I mean, just someone provided the text for this, so that's great. Just some random, doesn't have to be too long. Whatever needs to be said about this,
Yeah.
to a stranger.
Okay.
That's it.
That sounds good.
And I would speak with Zargam. Hopefully, we can make the most sense out of it without making it too complicated, and it will be good for me. And of course, if you have any issues like rearranging stuff, changing names, or adding items, that's great.
Okay. Okay, cool. So then, perfect. And then, oh yeah, and then giveth and making a milestone. So I would say you already delivered the 1500. So you can just make. Can you make one milestone for that? Or can we do it together right now?
Okay, yeah, sounds better.
Yeah. I know using giveth is a very horrible experience, and it does make me sad.
Not too much. I help Aleida collect the thing that you guys gave her the other time, and it wasn't too bad. Here, common stack.
Lower. That one. Iteration 0. A little bit higher, there's like a proposed milestone. Oh, you need to sign into MetaMask, and then the button will show up. Dapplion!
Yay! Oh, here.
Yeah. Horrible place for that button. I guess it's not the worst there. I'm sure we could hide it better, but
yeah, I'm on mainnet. Oh, it's an update.
Oh,
nice.
And you actually need to be on Rinkeby.
Oh, okay.
What contract were you interacting with? You don't like?
I have no idea. Oh yeah, compounded finance.
Oh, nice. Yeah, compound.
Yes. Okay, what are you doing?
So hacking together the augmented bonding curve simulation, or whatever you want to call it.
I think I did a HackMD the other time. I can copy the text, hopefully from there. Hopefully, bonding core visualization.
Ooh, yeah, this is all nice.
Like that.
I think you can get rid of that /100. The percent kind of implies,
Describe you're going to execute.
I mean, you could probably just put this whole thing in there. Like, you could even just copy paste the whole thing. Like, this looks great.
How is the one? This is the one in British, right?
Yeah, get rid of that U. see, to be known. Okay, so I guess we can get rid of a lot of that. Sleepage. It's just slippage, SLIP. I think it might be 2 P's.
I got it right here. Yeah. Such a weird word.
Yeah, it's a weird word. I think
I don't know.
I like
Should I include it or it's not necessary?
parameters. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you could probably get rid of all of that and just keep that first sentence. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. But now you got to put the payment stuff for sure and spell out there's an N missing in demonstrate.
Payment. It's $50 hour split, 30 paid hourly plus 20 on bonus.
Yep.
Should I add that? Or just put the actual amount?
Yeah, you can put the actual amount. You can say just for getting the web app to this the state that it's in right now for the first reviews. You know, I get 1,500 or whatever, and I'll finish it with 500 because for the next, I don't know. You don't even have to say the next one, and then just say that, yeah, and then link to the web app and the GitHub.
Here?
Yeah, in the text.
And a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now this is where it gets dicey because we probably have a bug that you have to deal with.
Where?
I think we might have a bug you might have to deal with, so we'll see. Click that donate 3% to a DAC. Well, so this says if you'd like, you could donate 3% to Give It of what you raised. Or you can uncheck that, and you should definitely you should disable milestone reviewer. And you should put your address there. Accept donate. What do you want to be paid in? DAI, right?
Yeah, with the DAI.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just no, you can do that. Undo that. Raise funds in DAI and enable the cap.
Enable a cap.
The last checked one.
This one?
Yeah, click that. And here you can just put in the amount. Although I don't know why it's saying Ether and freaking out on you. No, it's not Euro, it's DAI. Isn't it? Did we agree to €50 an hour? I thought we agreed to $50 an hour.
I think we did euro.
Oh shit.
Well, I can do euro and we donate 3%.
Okay. What's the is that what it says in the HackMD?
I think I typed dollar, but I was thinking euro. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking die, but I'm cool, man. I'm cool with whatever it needs to be.
How much is the euro dollar now right now?
It's probably 115, 120, 112.
112.
Let's let's see. So what does that mean? What is 1,500 euro divided by 1.2? No, times 1.2. So 1,500 euro is 168 or 1,680. So let's do like 1680 die because I like things even in die, if that's okay.
Sure. 6. Like that?
Yep, except there's clearly a bug here.
So should I copy the number over?
Well, I think if you click that up above where it says raising and die, up above, a little higher where it says raising funds and die.
Oh, you have to tell your developers to use a function called toFixed when you deal with numbers. Then you will skip this shitty JavaScript thing.
Okay.
It's like when you have this, because of bad math, you do toFixed. Fuck, I don't know how to write. Fixed. To, and then it goes away.
Oh, nice. Can you go up where it says raising funds in, like it's a little higher, and just click that to ether, where it says die? Lower, 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 higher,
Here.
higher. Yeah.
ETH?
Yeah. Let this reload, and then I don't know what's shit is broken, man. And now move it back to die and see if it fixes. You might just have to copy the text just in case and refresh this page.
Okay.
It should save it for you.
Yeah, it's good to save it. I remember doing that back then.
Yeah, now we have the save draft feature, which is so nice. But it also causes a lot of bugs, man.
Okay, so should I refresh or?
Yeah, refresh and let's see what happens. It should just all that information and the picture should all pop up, but we'll see. Luckily, this is all being live streamed, so it can be recorded
Oh, really?
and parsed out to. I can show it to Andre, and I can be like, "Hey,
When you live stream, where are you actually live streaming?
give it transparency."
And then it gets stored in YouTube or somewhere.
Yeah, it just sits on YouTube.
Could not connect to feathers. I guess that's why they couldn't fetch the.
Let me see.
Rate.
Let's see in the DApp room if they're like doing something.
Oh,
crazy.
back to that. Or no. No.
Let's see. Are you working on one? Oh snap! Just getting no response. Oh, looks like someone is restarting Feathers as we speak.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it means that the server is down. You guys have to get rid of Feathers so bad.
Dude, I am so excited to like throw everything we have away. I just want to like just like burn it like Office Space with the printer, you know, and just like and then start from scratch with like a clear code base and people who are like dedicated to working on this for a while, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the system you guys have right now is really good. It has a good feel. It's well structured. It's not an easy problem to tackle. It's just buggy. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
But
and
it's not a bad system by any means.
I don't know. It's been 2 years of testing and da da da. It's not bad, but yeah, it's not. It's definitely not so much the design as much as it is the code base.
Yeah. Oh, and the app. This app is the first one I fully developed in TypeScript.
Oh yeah. What do you think? There's always this debate with TypeScript, you know.
It's amazing.
Really?
Like no doubt whatsoever. It saves you so many times. I mean, I don't care what people say. It just saves you time, which at the end is money. So
Yeah.
it's great.
That's great, man. That's super cool.
I mean, like it's the probability of fucking it up in front end. It's so big. You can mess up so much stuff. With TypeScript, you just reduce this surface of error.
Okay, let's pause for like 10 minutes. I'm gonna just like make some issues on your thing on the GitHub and let's see if we can finish this.
Okay.
Oh shit! And someone's calling me, so never mind. Hold on.
Okay, if you want, let's try. Let's keep an eye on this, and if it becomes functional, then we can resume the call. If you want.
Okay, I'm gonna end the live stream anyway.